What's up, everyone? It's JDog406, and we're coming into Season 3 with a 3-box mega hunt right here. So, I'm hoping that we can get some really nice finds in here. I am also going to be looking for some different varieties, and we'll go over those at the end of the video. And I do want to say, I'm not going to record this in the traditional way, as it would just take way too long. So other than that, let's pop the tops of these and see what type of ends we got. Alright, so we have box 1 from Grizzly Security, November 7th, 2024 right here. We're going to pop the top, and yeah, it don't look too much like any enders. I did check it before showing this, so other than that, let's look at the second box. We have the second box right here, December 11th, 2024, and we're going to flip the top on that one, and I'm not seeing any enders on this one either. Alright, so let's look at the third box. And then we have the third box right here, December 27th, 2024. Let's go ahead and pop the top, and I'm not seeing too much for enders here either. Besides, yeah, I don't think there's nothing here, so let's go ahead and get into the first box and see what we can get. Before we get into that first roll, we are going to overview our score sheet. Here is the points sheet. And here is the extra Canadian score sheet. Alright, so I will open up the first roll of each box on camera, but yeah, I also did notice this. This first box did have a 2009 formative years on the end. Nothing too special. It is kind of a lower mintage, but they still are up in the hundreds of millions, so yeah, other than that, let's get this open. Alright, so we're going to be seeing if we're going to get anything better than this 2009 in this roll. This one does look a little damaged. It's from Denver, but yeah, let's go through the rest of this and see what's here. I don't think there's going to be much in this roll, so I will tune you guys in on all of the finds through the box as we go. I did want to tune you in on this. I'm on the 7th roll, and I found a 1983 12-sided Tiara Obverse Canadian penny, and they made the 12-sided pennies from 1982 to 1996. So they also did make these to try and help blind people identify coins. But other than that, let's continue. I got into the next roll, and we do have our first wheat penny. We're going to go ahead and flip this one over and see that it's a 1958. And then there's also this one right here. We had a 1993 12-sided Canadian. Alright, so I'm bringing you guys in on a couple of finds. We are going to get this one out of the way real quick. It's just a 1999 Canadian, but this is the more interesting one. So I popped the roll open, seen a little bit of a shinier edge. We go ahead and flip that open. We got a really nice shiny 1946 right there. That actually looks pretty good. That was also roll 15. Alright, we got our next wheat penny here, and this is in roll 19, and it's going to be a 1950 Denver. Little bit of luster, but it's definitely been in the ground. So let's move on. Just opened up roll 23, and I did notice this edge right here. It's going to be a 1978 Canada right there. As I was opening up roll 27, I did get this 1981 Canadian right here. And I guess let's go through the rest of this roll and see if there's something else here. Alright, we do have something else here. So we got a young head, so let's see what we can get. 1959 right there, alright. That's cool to be seeing one in the 50s. And I don't think there's anything else in here, so let's continue through. Alright, I just opened up the 32nd roll, and we got a 1941 right here. Same roll, we got another wheat. Okay, let's go ahead and see. 1918 Philadelphia right there. Alright, wasn't necessarily expecting to find an older one in this box. It just didn't feel like it, but yeah, let's go. Alright, so I did get into the next roll, the 33rd roll, and I did have a couple of finds. We got a 1959 Denver and a 1944 San Francisco with a lot of luster right there. Alright, now let's move on. We just got into roll 40 and we found a 1941 Denver right there. Alright, I just got into the 42nd roll. Halfway through, there's a 1945 Philadelphia. Alright, we're getting into the last roll of this first box, and I figured I'll try and open this one up live too and see if there's something good. Oh, actually, I'm glad I opened this one up live. Alright, we got a 1 cent from 1973. It's got a starfish, and this is going to be a Commonwealth of the Bahamas right there. Alright, very, very cool. I think I may have found one of these in another video of mine, but definitely don't see these a whole lot. Alright, let's move in to the conclusion for the first box. Alright, and we're down here at our conclusion for box 1, and we have 2 birth and early childhoods, 3 formative years, 2 professional lives, and 1 presidency for our 2009s. These are all Denvers. I think there might be 1 Philly. And then we had a bunch of 1959 Denvers right here, first year of the memorial. And then if we come down here, we had most of our wheat pennies right here. So we have a 1958 Denver, a 1950 Denver, which it might look like it might be a little nicer, but it's definitely not. It's all rotted out. Then we have a 1945 Philly, a 1941 Philly, and a 1941 Denver. And then if we come over here, we have a 1999 Canadian right here with the crowned obverse. And then we have a 1993, a 1983 with the tiara obverse. Then we have a 1981, a 1978, and a 1959 with the Younghead obverse. Alright, then if we come up here, so here were the nicest finds of the entire box. So we had 1 cent 1973 from the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Alright, that's a pretty cool foreign find, and we found it live. Then we had a 1918 Philadelphia. Still didn't feel like a box that was going to have an older coin like that. Then we had this really, really nice 1946 Philadelphia right here. I mean, just look at this thing. You couldn't ask for much better in circulation. And then we had a nice 1944 San Francisco. It's got a big fingerprint across it, but it's still a pretty nice looking coin. And yeah, alright, now we can get in to the second box. Alright, so let's get this one out of here, and let's get into this one right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if we can find anything live on the first roll. Oh, we got a Canadian right here. 1981. Alright. Looking halfway decent. Something going on the front of it. I'm pretty sure it's just damage though. And I don't think there's anything else in this first roll. So I'll tune you guys in on the next find. I actually literally just cracked into the second roll. And we already got one popping out. We got a Canadian with the 12-sided. Alright, we got a 1987. nearly down to the end of roll 8, and we do have another Canadian right here, 1979. Alright, I just started to open up the 9th roll, and we got this one right here, 1977. Getting into the 12th roll, we got a 1980 Canadian right here. Same roll, we got another Canadian. Alright, let's see what we got. 1981. At the end of roll 13, we had a 1989 12-sided. In roll 15, I had a 1985 Canadian 12-sided. Alright, in roll 17, there is a Canadian that I can see. Alright, let's get this one. 1981. Alright, getting into roll 15, I did see this Canadian sticking out. 1978. Alright, I was opening up roll 30 and we finally have another find and another wheat penny. So let's hope it's a good one. Let's go ahead and flip it and see. 1957, definitely looks circulated. Alright, let's continue. Alright, we're on the 43rd roll and we found another wheat penny, 1953 San Francisco. Alright, and we're getting into the last and final roll for box 2. Let's see what we can get right here. And I don't think we got anything else other than this 2009 presidency. Alright, and we're at the conclusion for box 2. So we had quite a few 2009s. We had 1 birth and early childhood, which is surprising. We had 7 formative years, 5 professional lives, and 5 presidencies right there. And the presidency is actually the more rare one, and I'm just still surprised we only got 1 of those birth and early childhoods. Then we got a couple of 1959 Denvers right here, 4 of them. Surprisingly, we only had 2 wheat pennies. We had a 1957 Denver and a 1953 San Francisco. This one probably being the nicest looking one. Then, if we come over here, here's all of our Canadians. So we have a 1989 12-sided with the Tiara obverse. It's the last year of that obverse. A 1987, a 1985, a 1981, another 1981. That one might look like it's in good condition, but it's just cleaned. And then we have another 1981, a 1980, a 1979, a 1978, and a 1977. And that was all the finds in box 2, so now let's get into that last and final box. So that box is empty, so let's get that one out of here. And let's get into this last and final box. Alright, we're getting into this first roll of the 3rd box. I'm hoping that it's going to be a bit better than the second, and it would be an absolute great surprise if it's a bit better than the first one. But other than that, let's get into this and see what's here. And I don't think there's going to be anything in this first roll, so I'll tune you guys in when I do find something. Alright, we're actually about halfway through the second roll, and we got our first wheat penny right here, 1957 Denver. Opened up the 3rd roll, about in the center, there was a 12-sided 1990 first year of the Crown obverse. Alright, we're getting into the 9th roll, and we got our second wheat penny, a 1957 Denver. Alright, just cracked open the 19th roll, and we got a Canadian right here. Let's go ahead and see what we got. 1980 right there. That's pretty good. Alright, we're getting into the 25th roll right here, and we got another wheat penny, so let's go ahead and flip it and see what we got. 1947 Denver right there, alright. Alright, we're getting into the last roll of the 3rd box. Can we get something interesting out of this one? Hopefully. because we have not found a whole lot in this box. I don't think there's going to be anything in this last roll, so let's move on to the conclusion. Alright, and here we are at the conclusion for our third box. We had 2 birth and early childhoods, 2 formative years, and 4 professional lives. There were no presidencies in that box, but other than that, we had one nice and bright and shiny 1959 Philadelphia right there. And then we had 2 1959 Denvers. And then if we come down here, we had a couple of wheat pennies, 1957 Denver, 2 of them right there. And then we had a 1947 Denver. And then we had 2 Canadians, 1980 and 1990 right there. And there's a difference in the obverse. We got the crown and the tiara right there. So other than that, let's go see what we got in all 3 boxes now. Alright, and we're here at the conclusion, and we had a ton of 2009s. So we had 5 birth and early childhoods, 11 formative years. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 professional lives. And we had 6 presidencies right there. That's quite a lot. And then we had a bunch of 1959s. We had this really nice looking 1959 Philly right here. Still looking pretty good. And I did want to mention this, so this is what a cleaned coin looks like if you didn't know. That is severely cleaned. It's super pinkish. Yeah. And then, here's all of our wheat pennies, or most of them, I should say. So we have a 1958 Denver, a couple of 1957 Denvers, a 1953 San Francisco, a 1950 Denver with some luster, but it's not the greatest. It looks like it's probably sat in the ground for a little bit. A 1947 Denver, a 1945 Philly, a 1941 Denver, and a 1940 Philly. And then, these were our nicest looking wheat pennies in the box. So we had a 1946 Philly and a 1944 San Francisco. And they both look pretty great. Just the one on the right has a little bit of fingerprints on it. Let's go ahead and flip these over real quick and take a nice look at the reverses. Yeah, they definitely look pretty good. Little bits of dings and scrapes, but, you know, that's expected. And then we did also have a ton of bright and shiny ones that weren't wheat pennies or anything super valuable. I just like to pull them out, especially when they look something like that right there. And then here's all of our Canadians. So we had a bunch of them right here. So we have a 1999, a 1990, a 1993, a 1989, a 1987, a 1985, a 1983, 4 1981s, and this first 1981 right here is actually severely cleaned as well. It's not that great, and it's got some weird gash going in the center of it. 1980, 1979, couple 1978s, and a 1977. And then, alright, and here are our best finds on the box today. So I do know that the first and second one right there did come out of the first box. And I can't remember if this one came out of the second box or the third box. But we have a 1973 Star Cent right here coming out of the Bahamas. Then we have a 1918 Philadelphia, which is the more common one, but still a teens weedy right there. You can't ask for more. Then we had this 1959 right here, young head Canadian. Very nice always to be finding something in the 50s for Canada. And then I just wanted to mention that this 1964 right here is it's got some weird color on it. Someone definitely painted it, probably a little marker. And then the other thing that we're going to get into. So I did look for some different varieties, and well, I haven't looked for them yet. I pulled everything out to the side right here. So I'm going to go through all of these real quick. We're going to be seeing what we can get, and I will name it off right here real quick. So in the 1960s, we can be looking for the small date or the large date, or the small date over large date. And the small date is going to be the more expensive one or the more rare one. And then in 1969, we can be looking for the double-dyed obverse. And then in 1970 right there, 1970 San Francisco's, we can be looking for the small date high 7 or the large date low 7. And then on the 1972 right there, I know I only have one, we can be looking for the double-dyed obverse. And then on these 1982s right here, I just wanted to show you the difference between the large date and small date. It is kind of noticeable off the naked eye, but here's some pictures to show you what it is. So other than that though, we are going to throw all these underneath the microscope and we're going to see what we can get. Alright, so out of our 1960s, we did get one small date Denver right here. And let me show you one that's not a small date right here. And it's also, you can see it right here by the 9 being below the 1. And if we look at this one, the 9's going to be above the 1 right there. And then I got this 1969 up here, and it definitely looks different from a normal one. And you can definitely see splitting right here on the S, on the 1, right on the back of it, on the inside of the 9 and the complete outside of the 9, on the inside of the 6 and outside of the 6, on the inside of this 9 and the outside of that one. And if we bring it up here, you can see it on the T, the S, the U. Ooh, this thing turned off. Alright, the R. Not too much on that T, maybe a little bit on the top of it. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of doubling right there, especially you can see a little bit on the N too. And Liberty, you can see a little bit as well right here on the R and the T and the Y, maybe a little in the E too. But yeah, I think that we got the 1969 double dye obverse 02. So the second one. So this isn't the first one. And I'll show an image of what the first one looks like. And then here's an image of what the second one looks like. And it looks pretty similar to what we got right here. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure on what the value of this would be, but it's definitely a cool piece to add in my collection. And here's what a normal 1969 San Francisco looks like without the double-dyed obverse. And other than that, we did not find any 1970 small date high 7s or the 1972 double-dyed obverse. And we already know that we got one small date 1982 and one large date 1982. But those aren't super valuable. The value of them's about equal each, and I also do find about equal of both in my boxes. So it's just not going to be too rare, but it is a variety. So yeah, now let's get into the score sheets for our 3 boxes. Here is the point sheet. And here is the extra Canadian score sheet. Alright, for that first box, it was going to be Season 3, box number 3. And we had 8 2009s for 8 points, 5 1959s for 5 points, 8 over 60 million for 8 points, 2 crown for 4 points, 3 tiaras for 9 points, 1 young head for 5 points, and 1 foreign for 10 points, for a total points of 49 points. And then on that second box, we had Season 3 box number 4. We had 18 2009s for 18 points, 4 1959s for 4 points, 2 over 60 million for 4 points, 10 tiaras for 30 points, for a total points of 56 points. Now that was a decent box right there. And then for the last and final box of this video, Season 3 box number 5, we had 8 2009s for 8 points, 3 1959s for 3 points, 3 over 60 million for 6 points, 1 crown for 2 points, 1 tiara for 3 points, for a total points of 22 points. And I still think that these were about average boxes. Maybe that second one was a little bit above average, but yeah, that's about normally what I would find in my area. And I'm still honestly surprised to have found a 1960 D possible double die. Still don't know about that one, but it definitely kind of looks like it, especially when I look at that 1969 S DD02. That is, it's definitely a little bit of doubling on that one. And then we had that 1960 small date Denver, which was pretty nice. But other than that, the total points, 127 points between all 3 boxes. Now, if these were all in one box, that would be an outrageously good box. But other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, J-Dog out.